All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update. And this is going to be a fun one. We're going to look at Superman's abysmal numbers on streaming. It's even worse than we initially thought. Today, we're going to find out that Superman lost out to zombies. Superman lost out to Rebel Moon. Superman lost out to manga. We're going to talk about how bad the streaming numbers really are. And this is pretty crazy. And then I'm going to show you an exchange I had with Movie Hubhub this morning. And before I get into that, I want you guys to be very clear about something. Do not go to somebody else's channel and harass them, okay? Movie Hubhub let me know that some people from my channel came over there and started harassing him. Don't do it, okay? That is not what my channel is about. I don't agree with it. It's never okay, and that's exactly why I don't bring up other people in my videos. Now, I'm making an exception to Movie Hubhub simply because I didn't know how bad or how many videos he had done on me till I actually went to his channel, because I don't watch other people's videos. And I went to his channel, and he has a number of videos. And I'm betting a lot of the angry gun people come from his channel after he posts something from my channel. Like, he literally will take big chunks of my videos, and he'll put them over on his channel. And so what's crazy about this is he actually works for DC, and I want you guys to be clear on this. He actually works for DC. He doesn't even realize how popular Superman is. I'm going to show you the most ridiculous thing ever, but let's take a look at what I have to show you guys in regards to the streaming numbers. This is pretty freaking crazy. All right, so the first photo I wanted to show you guys here today comes from Anime News Center, and it says, Demon Slayer, Infinity Castle has surpassed James Gunn's Superman, becoming the 7th highest grossing film of the year. How sad is that? Now, what's crazy about this is I don't even know what Demon Slayer Infinity Castle is. I've never heard of it. I'm not into manga at all. And the only manga thing I own has to do with some Star Wars thing they did for Empire Strikes Back, this 4-issue thing. That's it. Outside of that, I'm not big into anime. It's not my thing. I don't even know what this is. You ask anybody in my family, they wouldn't know what this is. But it made more money than Superman. Okay? What this goes to show you is just how bad Superman performed worldwide. Superman is probably the most recognizable superhero across the entire world, and it couldn't even beat Demon Slayer. Superman was rejected all over the world. This version of Superman, nobody wanted it around the world. People were expecting Henry Cavill to come back. This version of Superman was rejected. Now, some people are going to come in and say, well, it did great domestically. Well, then you've got a big Superman problem in the U.S. as well, because Demon Slayer is more popular here as well. And it's going to continue to make money. That's the crazy part. Superman died. When it left theaters, it was dead. Now, all Superman fans were rejoicing this morning. Rejoicing! Because Superman streamed in its first week on HBO Max 13 million views. Okay? 13 million views in its first week, which is the best since Barbie released on HBO Max. But let's look at this in comparison to several other projects. First up, this comes from Comic Book something, CBC, I don't know what this is. But it says, K-pop Demon Hunters wasn't a sure thing. It's now Netflix's most watched movie ever. Toronto writer-director Maggie Kang's cross-cultural blockbuster posts 236 million streams. Now, this photo and the next photo I'm taking comes courtesy of the Lethal Geeks. They posted these. I grabbed them. I'm sharing them here. They deserve the credit on this. Okay? Not only did this make 236 million streams to Superman's abysmal 13 million streams. Think about that. Think about that. That's insane. Almost 20 times more. Insane. Insane. But, it didn't even beat Rebel Moon. Remember the movie that was supposedly a failure and was a bomb? It had 24 million views in its first 3 days. In its first 3 days, it had 24 million views, much less a week. Think about those numbers, guys. No matter what anybody tells you, Superman was not the blockbuster hit they claim it to be. It's all smoke and mirrors. And let's look at what Movie Hubhub posted this morning, and him and I were going back and forth. So in regards to this, I actually posted this yesterday, and I said, further proof that Warner Brothers dropped the ball. The most recognizable character in the world became second fiddle to a film that it should never been able to come close. And it's true. So when I showed the photo of this other movie making more than the film that got released, Movie Hubhub came in and said, just like F1, some Americans are clueless on what had huge global international following. They need to travel outside the States. If they have just a myopic worldview. The Superman domestic performance is huge, though, which helps profit margin. And I told him, you work for DC and don't even understand the popularity of Superman and how the world rejected this version. Unbelievable. He said, Superman outdid 3 Marvel movies in 2025. It's a moderate success. You guys acting like it flopped is silly. It got a sequel right away within an entire Superman saga framework. I said it was a global failure, and you know it. Doesn't matter if it got a sequel. He replied with, more movies for the DCU are because it performed well enough. It would have been dead like the Snyderverse if it actually flopped. And I said, you can't play both sides. The Snyderverse was wildly popular through Shazam, made the studio a ton of money. Superman lost the studio money, but they are banking on reviews, which is hilarious. He goes on to say Superman made a $125 million profit. It set up more movies for the DCU also. The domestic return rate is like 30% more than the Asian markets. You guys can joke domestic man, but I'll take it over cancellation man. And I replied, it did not make $125 million in profit. You know that is a straight up lie. Superman was rejected around the world, and it didn't even sell as many tickets as Man of Steel did domestically. I said it was a failure all the way around. Couldn't even make as much as Man of Steel, not even adjusted for inflation. And then he goes on to say that I'm not going to read any more than this. Well, I'll go a little bit further. But he goes on to say that since 2013 to present day, theater going is generally down 49%. That is a lie, okay? It's about a third. It is not half. It is about a third, okay? And he said, yes, I would think it would have sold more ticket. As for inflation, you guys never account for inflation on cost towards profitability. And he was also talking about, he actually changed what he said here because he went on to say that Superman or that Man of Steel had 2 more months in theaters than Superman did. And I told him it wouldn't have made a difference, and you know it. Superman was dead when it left theaters. He said, yes, most movies drift to streaming quickly, regardless of success level. Minecraft did nearly $1 billion, and in a few weeks was showing up on digital. And I said, and they were still going to the theater to see it. Superman was dead. And this is what this guy doesn't understand. And I really wish we could see who he is. He's hiding behind a microphone. He won't even show you who he is, okay? His voice actually sounds like AI, if you ask me. With the cadence and the way it's delivered, it does sound like AI. And it might be. He is a studio plant, guys. He's even admitted, whoever he is, could be a she if they're using a voice thing. This person works for DC. They're going to spin this however they can. They know that $100 million or $125 million profit is a lie. That's what it made in its first weekend. And people ran with it. They ran with it. He actually works for DC. They know what it made. That is not what it made. It is a lie that they continue to perpetuate. They throw it out there. They continue to throw it out there. And it's simply not true. It's not true. And so he's going to sit here and try to make it look as positive as it could possibly be. Yeah, well, I will tell you, the early days of the DCU, for the first 5 years, were wildly more successful than anything that James Gunn has done for the DCU. Nobody watched Creature Commandos. It was like 300 million a week or 300,000 a week were watching it. That's it. Do you guys know how small 300,000 a week is? And then you have Peacemaker, which is getting like 700,000 a week. They can't even get up to 1 million views on these projects because nobody cares about what DC is doing. The world rejected this version of Superman. The entire world did. Doesn't matter what it did domestically. Domestically, it didn't even sell as many tickets as Man of Steel did. The interest in this version of Superman is a complete fabrication. The whole thing is. I like to keep it apples to apples. Seat for seat, ticket for ticket. Interest, that shows you pure interest. That's the only real way to do it. And the fact is, this movie sold fewer tickets domestically than Man of Steel. This movie couldn't even beat Man of Steel, not even adjusted for inflation. It did horrible overseas. The world rejected this version of Superman. The views for the first few days were ridiculously low. It couldn't even beat Zack Snyder's Justice League, which was a rehash of a film that had been released several years prior. It can't even beat those things. And now with streaming, you see how much more that K-pop thing did on Netflix and how much more that Rebel Moon did. Everyone keeps saying that Rebel Moon was a failure. No. You know what's a failure? If you want to go by those same standards, Superman is dog shit. Superman is not being embraced the way they claim it is. They're going to use all these tactics to say it's doing great. The fact that it made 13 million views, it's simply because they don't have anything new on the platform. I would hope that it would do better than that. It should do better than that. The fact is, people don't care. They don't care. They didn't care when it was in theaters. They don't care. People have been sending me pictures, too, of Walmarts where they put up the Superman movie. Freaking other movies have spots that are empty because people are buying it, and Superman is all completely stocked up. They can't even sell it on physical media. Like, this is crazy. I remember when Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, I had to go to several places to be able to pick it up. Same with Batman vs. Superman. Batman vs. Superman is one of the biggest selling Blu-rays ever, that extended version. Like, they don't have a clue as to what's going on. The DC brand is so tarnished. James Gunn was the wrong guy to bring in. His two projects outside of Superman are freaking disgusting. They shouldn't even be part of DC. And yet, they're going to try and run with this dude. Like, it boggles the mind. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But they're going to sit there and just try to make everything look all rosy. I'm never going to do that with you guys. I am never going to sit here and blow smoke. You guys know what's going on. Most of you understand. This is not the universe they think it is. It is not the builder they think it is. It doesn't matter whether they go forward with it or not. It's performing way worse than anything that was going on with the DCU, especially in the first 5 to 6 years. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. The interest is not there. If I guarantee you, when Spider-Man comes out next year, it's going to sell so many tickets because Spider-Man is popular. You know who's more popular around the world? Superman. But Superman can't even sell those tickets because people don't care about this version. It's just a fact. All right, guys, I do appreciate the support. I will be back with a regular DC update. I have a lot of things to show you guys in the next video. That should be up sometime tomorrow. I do appreciate the support. We'll see you guys on the next video.